Hello there. Yes, I thought I'd spend a few moments today before I trundle off to work to discuss my superior intellect with you. Yes, I wish I had my readers with me, because it would help convey my superiority, but alas, they have evaded my quest. So, without my readers, I must work extra hard to convey my superior intellect. Yes, I have such a superior intellect that I have Christians coming to my channel asking me scientific questions, or rather, asking me to present evidence that there is no such thing as God. Interesting that they would ask me, a mere atheist, to present evidence for something that doesn't exist. However, I will attempt to endeavor to prove to you that this God doesn't exist. Okay, here we have a glass of water. Now, if God existed in this glass, supposedly God exists everywhere. So we have to imagine that God somehow gets his little tendril of himself inside this glass, yes. Now, if you pour a liquid into this receptacle, it will fill up and overflow. Now, if God is in there in any measurable way, the weight of the water would force him down to the bottom of the glass, and there would be a space about like this where the water would stop and it would fill from here. So there would be this space right here that would not be filled because God would be occupying this space. And this would technically become the bottom of the glass right here, see? So pouring water in a glass is a simple rudimentary way to prove that God doesn't exist, because if you pour water into here, it will go all the way to the bottom, yes. And if you were to say, well, God is in the water as well, it completely stumped me, because I'm not a scientist, and I don't understand why people seem to think that atheists are scientists. The problem with Christians who believe that is they don't understand that the reason people are atheists is because nobody has managed to convince us that a God exists. And what's interesting is these types of Christians seem to think that it's our job to convince them that our right to not believe in something that we don't think exists doesn't exist. But see, I actually think that my right to not believe something that doesn't exist is my right, and I have this equally important right to believe in what I believe, which is that there is no such thing as God. I personally think that saying that you have a scientific background and you still believe in God and therefore God exists is not a good enough argument. I have very little science education, but I do have a superior intellect, and I'm pretty sure there's no such thing as God, so I think that makes my opinion weigh so much more heavily than the next person's opinion. Now, as to the issue of straw men, it's interesting to note that anything that I say is merely a straw man, but the other person accusing me of this is, of course, not bringing forth any strawmans whatsoever in his accusations that I am only putting strawmans out, and this person says he disagrees with everything I say. So my feeling is he should just not, continue to badger me about things that I am not giving him satisfactory answers to, because I am not a scientist. There are so many more scientists out there that he could inquire of, or he could go to scientific journals, or he could go to the many books on the subject of science. So anyway, it's kind of boring after a while talking with this particular kind of accent, and it would be so much better if I had those silly readers, but whatever. I don't believe in God, and I don't see any reason for there to be a God. And for someone to say that everything needs to have a beginning, well, then that would also apply to a God. Or if they were to say that everything requires a creator, then that same thing would also apply to their God. And it doesn't. Apparently, God doesn't need a creator. Well, then why does the universe need a creator? I ask you. Or, if everything has to have a beginning, then why doesn't God need to have a beginning? Interesting that one thing is the important exception that Christians allow to flit willy-nilly back and forth and have any imaginable quality, and anything goes, whatever is the most convenient, at the time. So anyway, I am extremely bored now talking like an idiot, and I have to go to work in a short amount of time. So I will let you go, but my feeling is, people who expect atheists to be scientists should also expect every average Christian on the planet to be scientists too. And I don't think that they are, really. So if you've been listening to this really awful video in this really stupid accent I'm doing, thank you so very much. Now, I'm off to the university to further I'm actually working on my 15th degree now. Yes, my 15th. I have them all lined up on the wall with little frames. So, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.